Welcome to our short video on how to service and overhaul the servo that's fitted to ZR3, ZR4, ZR5 and ZR6 compressors. The teardown portion of this video is quite simple, but just make sure when you take all the parts out, like the steel ring, that you don't lose them for later. The bottom cover retains the spring. This supplies pressure to the spindle inside, so when the oil pressure is on the top of the servo diaphragm, there is some tension back against the shuttle. Always change the spring for a new one that comes in the kit. Check for free movement as shown. Right, okay. Yeah. Note that the hole that you're going to put the Allen key through to remove the inner portion is at the rear of the servo on reassembly. Here you can see we've moved it to the side for ease of getting at it.
And this is where you line the hole up.
You apply one Allen key to the bottom, spin it round until the hole becomes visible, then place in the second Allen key to hold it firm while you undo the Allen key below. As you can see, you can now withdraw the whole assembly with ease. The plastic ring doesn't come in the kit, so just make sure it's not worn. Check all around it, that everything's square and you don't see any wear marks. Next, take out the inner shuttle pieces. As we are demonstrating, you need to check that these surfaces are in good condition. If not, you can lightly emery paper them, but only lightly. Okay, remove the rest of the parts as shown. The inner spool assembly pieces come out quite freely. You should have no problems with removing them. Just check them again for any wear or excessive dirt. Let's check over the parts so far. If you don't have this video to hand, it's always wise to assemble the parts on the table as shown. This gives you a very clear indication how everything goes back together. Okay, let's remove the side cover and take out the diaphragm and O-ring from there. It's a good idea if there's an airline available to just check all the holes are clear before reassembly.
You have to watch out for any wear inside. So wear across any of these valve seats here. Make sure they're nice and flat with emery cloth. Give them a rub with emery cloth.
Yeah.
Looking out for any dirt, debris. Making sure it's nice and clean.
Yeah.
Looking for any wear across the nylon ring.
You may be using an OEM kit, or by alternative you can use the Ztechnique kit. They're both almost identical. Here you can see we've laid out the parts just to check them off before we reassemble. Make sure everything's clean inside. Use a cloth or an airline. Okay, we're going to place the diaphragm in first. That just pushes home gently. And then on the cover, you actually fit the O-ring. It's quite simple. Just make sure you line it up correctly. And on to the next stage of assembly. The O-ring goes in first. Then the spindle with the diaphragm fitted as shown. Everything should go together very easily. You can put the inner spindle together with the aluminium piece as shown, and then pop it all inside up against the O-ring. Now you need to turn it round in the vise so you can work on the other side of the servo. Take note, the O-ring's gone in first in the body of the housing, then the aluminium spindle piece, and then the diaphragm itself. Everything should fit very easily. We're now going to fit the rest of the servo together as shown. Just ensure there's free movement at all times. This next part can be a little tricky. That's why we've included a picture-in-picture so you can see how the long screw fastens to the body of the piston. Just take your time. We're going to show you again the method with the two Allen keys, how to correctly align the hole in the piston so you can tighten the long screw. Here's the hole coming into view now. Now you place your Allen key in, and at the same time you nip up the bottom screw till it's just tight. Don't be excessive in force. Now we've placed the two bolts as shown to retain the body. Once again, check for free movement. Make sure there's no binding and everything moves easily. Now it's time to fit the new spring and the retaining cover. Because we now have tension against the piston, it should move as shown. You should get tension coming back as you push it with your thumb. Now it's time to fit the top cover assembly. So it's the diaphragm first, then the steel ring and the O-ring together. Finally place the cover on in the orientation that it came off. The principle for loading the servo on the ZR3, 4, 5 and 6 compressor uses oil pressure. However, when the solenoid is de-energized, there's a small hole, an orifice hole, in the top T section that must remain clear. Do not make it larger, but ensure it's clear. You can see the hole now. This ensures that the oil relieves back to the sump when the solenoid de-energizes. And there you are, everything's done. You're ready to put the throttle back together. Make sure the holes at the rear are shown. Thank you for watching. If you'd like more information on training from Ztechnique, please contact us at ztechnique.co.uk. Thank you very much.